What's going on, everyone? It's time for another film review. Today we're going to be talking about the horror. We're going to be starting to review the horror mega franchise, The Conjuring film. So let's start with The Conjuring 1. It was released by New Line Cinema July 19th, 2013. It was written by Chad Hayes and Carrie W. Hayes, and it was produced by Tony Darsengard, Peter Safran, and Rob Cohen, and it was directed by James Wan, who, if that name sounds familiar, was known for the Saw films and stuff. But yeah, he also did like *Malignant*, *Aquaman*. He would go on to do *The Conjuring 2* and *Furious 7*. And this had a box office earnings of over $319.5 million. So, *The Conjuring*. Wow, this is an iconic haunted house movie. Spiritual horror film, and yeah, so, and it stars Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson, I think, plays. So it follows the cases of Ed and Lorraine Warren, one of the more dramatic ones, and yeah, so Ed and Lorraine Warren are paranormal investigators, and they documented a lot of their cases and stuff in their books and things like that. A lot of people think most of their stuff's fabricated and fake and stuff, but it makes for good stuff like this. So, yeah. So this one, you follow the Perrin family who move into an old century-old home, and where these brutal haunting starts terrorizing the family. And at first, obviously, it follows every horror cliche in this film, and like the parents don't believe it right away, but then one of the parents slowly actually becomes possessed and stuff. And yeah, at first, Ed and Lorraine Warren don't even believe it, and they go and investigate and basically disprove half of their claims, but then witness some other stuff that happens and actually tries to make them want to help figure out and control the haunting. So overall, this film is really well shot. I really enjoyed the cinematography in this film. It is very well done. It's definitely one of the more beautifully artistically shot horror films out there, and each shot of the film and stuff like that, you tell they took their time crafting it and making it look as perfect as possible, and it really works and helps out the film, especially with the scares and stuff. This, like I said, this film has pretty much every cliche in the horror genre, but they perfect it and utilize those to ample effect, and definitely drives it home at the end as a full solid piece. So yeah, so cinematography, the special effects and stuff look good. The scares are actually pretty well staged and crafted. There is some random fake out jump scares and things like that to be expected, but overall I thought that it was pretty well executed. The acting is really good too in this. A lot of it are very believable. I know the mother, I thought was a little off, but other than that, I thought everyone else, they were pretty good. So, and overall, the writing of the film and stuff, the way the writers wrote the characters, that made them feel real and not just overwritten to the point where they're just fake, amateurish looking things. Not where some writers try to write characters too realistically, and then they comes off as more of a carbon copy wannabe of what we are and stuff in film. And this one isn't like that. They flesh them out to the point where it's not overly done, but it's done to the point where they actually feel like an actual human, a good family, and everything of that nature. So I really enjoyed that part of the writing. I didn't really like the ending style. They kind of like closed it out and then they slapped on another sort of like twist ending, which kind of to me wasn't the best thing, but overall it still was amusing and interesting and spooky. So yeah, it kind of worked and it kind of doesn't, depends on who you talk to. But overall, The Conjuring is definitely one of the best haunted house movies out there. And I know when it came out, it made huge shockwaves through the film industry and through audiences alike, and it definitely spawned a franchise that's still being made these days. So yeah, overall this film is actually really good and really enjoyable, especially if you like horror and stuff and you miss those old school days when you're younger and you're watching horror films for the first time and hiding under the blanket. This one might make you do that for the first time when you watch it and freak you out quite a bit. So yeah, overall, I'm going to give The Conjuring a 4.5 out of 5. I really enjoyed this movie, and I'm going to do the rest of the all 7 other films or whatever it is, all 7 films at least, or if you include Curse of La Llorona, I'll do the 8. But I'm going to do the first 6 that came out right back to back. So yeah, get ready for that. So yeah, so this is the first one. So obviously I'm going to do the next one, which was Annabelle. But yeah, so overall, The Conjuring, really good horror film. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it, and rewatch it if you haven't watched it in a while. Definitely relive it. It's really cool to see all the Easter eggs they put into it. They do a good job of it. So definitely go back and check it out. I'll link the trailer. If I can find the whole movie, I'll link it down below so you can watch it for free. Also, link down below my Instagram as well as post clips, films, and review in the future. All my stories, the film title and hashtag, and some show film and a hashtag so you're aware of it. And also, down below is my Letterbox and Dairy P reviews. That's where I post my first star rating after watching the films. So follow me on one of those 2 platforms. Stay in loop with this channel. Like this video, share it so more people aware of it. Comment your opinions of the film down below if you have any. And also if you have any films or film franchises in any genre that you want to hear my opinions on in the future, comment those down below too. I'll try to get to them as soon as I can and if I can find them. So, and also let me know if, sequels you want me to do in this one. Sooner rather than later, and I'll try to get those out as soon as I can. But yeah, make sure you subscribe. Hopefully, find something weird, obscure, and odd that you probably never thought of checking out together. And also, so you hear my opinions on popular films that have come out, somewhat like this, classic films, and reviews on other things as well. And don't forget to ring that bell because, well, I'm going to do Annabelle for the next review. So make sure you tune in for that. And yeah, and for the other Conjuring film universe films. So I think it's about time that I've done this. I've been on this for platform for like 3 years now, so might as well start talking about some of the bigger stuff. So yeah, we're gonna do the Conjuring film. So Annabelle's next. Hopefully that one's good, and watch out for all those ghosts and demons lurking in your homes, creeping about. And I guess I'll see you all in the next review. So until then, cheers.